Talking with a Dad, episode 11. We got the railway going. Number 11.
We did it.
We did it.
Part of that joke because
it's copyrighted at this point.
Yeah, I might have to start paying.
It's copyrighted at this point. Steve, this week the sponsors. Go ahead.
This week's sponsors, we want to give a warm thank you to. You know what? I'm just gonna say it flat out. We need sponsors. There's no sponsor jokes. So if you want to be on the sponsor joke, we need it, man. We need it. We're actually filming in the same house right now. I am literally on the other side of Zach's wife kicked me out. We need money.
Oh man. This week is a special focused episode of Talking with a Dad. We usually don't do these. We usually come in with a bunch of topics and just kind of just have a chat for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it goes.
I feel like this is going to be short this week, man.
I think it is, which is okay for me. Clearly, I'm a little bit sick. I'm about as congested as I've ever been. It's getting real brutal over here. I'm sipping on some tea, going to bed immediately after this.
That's that adult work life, man. You're exposing yourself to adult germs now.
No, it's just a simple cold. That's it. But I'll be all right. I guess I'll have to do tomorrow, so I can't let the sickness rule my life.
Are you doing any home remedies, or are you just taking straight up RX drugs?
No, I did some Dayquil today, so I get through the day at work, and then just tea, and then I'll take NyQuil before I go to bed.
So you're not like rubbing Vicks on your chest, drinking Windex?
I'm allergic to Vicks. I can't do that stuff. That stuff makes me like want to throw up.
So in that case, I want to thank our sponsors, Vicks. 20 gallon that we're putting over to Zach's house right now.
Yeah, it's on the way. It's on the way.
Right.
So we have the Gaming with a Dad Fight Awards.
Yes.
Now, if you guys are listening to this audio only, there won't be any additional visuals. Just come over to the channel and subscribe.
There won't be any sound effects, any clapping or anything like that.
There will not be any clapping. There will be awards. We're giving out the Golden Switch. We just haven't gotten it painted yet. We are a gaming-centric channel. Believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe. So, Steve,
remember what happened to Unbox Therapy? Don't threaten to give stuff away. People will find this channel based on that alone.
I'll handle those people. We'll handle those people accordingly. We're not too worried about them. So what are the awards tonight, Steve? We have a few awards. Give me a rundown of the list.
All right, so we got Knockout of the Year,
Yes.
Sub of the Year.
Yep.
We got Breakout Moments for fighters who really stood out in the year of 2019, whether it was a fight or a moment that kind of sealed them in the public's mind and hearts. We got Fighter of the Year, not to confuse with Breakout Moments. And then we got Fight of the Year, Comeback Career of the Year, Round of the Year, and then He Got Humble. A very special
And biggest upset.
Biggest upset.
And the most boring fight.
Most boring fight.
So
what do you want to start?
What do we want to go first? I think we should say Fighter of the Year and Fight of the Year for last. All right, let's give out the prestigious awards last.
Okay.
What do we got? What do we got? Let's do Knockout of the Year. Let's get that one out of the way.
What do you got for me? Who do you got? Who did you
I
pick?
have a close second, Masvidal knocking out Askren. I have a close third for Kevin Lee over Gregor Gillespie.
I knew you were going to say that, my boy Gillespie.
My knockout of the year was Valentina Shevchenko knocking out Jessica Ai.
God damn it, we're psychically linked up. That is like when I thought about it, I was like, many people have been knocked out. In the
Yes.
team.
Big year.
Souls have been snatched right out of their body. But not once was there another moment like that when we thought,
that was scary.
She's possibly dead.
She was out. The up kick, what is it, Nico Price? The up kick?
Yes. Nico
That
Price.
was close. That was a very, very, very close second. That's in the top 5 for me this year.
Right.
But that kick, that precisely placed, set up kick by Valentina Shevchenko is like second to none to me.
The only thing that looked worse than that was Holly Holm getting kicked with the very kick she knocked Ronda Rousey out.
That was up there. I think that rounds out the top 5 for me. For sure. But
Frankie Edgar almost made my list.
Yeah.
he almost made
Made it. Almost made it.
Yeah, so my number 2 for knockout of the year was definitely going to be Kevin Lee versus my boy, your boy,
Yeah.
Galipsky. That was just not because that was heartbreaking. I literally an episode prior to that knockout was like, "This guy's the greatest thing since sliced bread."
He's gonna be champion in a division where it's really competitive. Clearly,
really competitive. Also, almost made the knockout of the year was Pettis versus Thompson. That was,
yeah.
Starch.
Yeah, I mean, in that vein, Overeem is up there too, getting knocked out. Only just 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now, did you see the work that they did on that to fix it? It was incredible.
Yeah, amazing.
It was incredible.
Yeah, that surgeon needs to help the e-girls.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good. On a side note here, just because Kevin Lee went up to TriStar to train for this fight, Johnny Walker's going to TriStar to train for his next fight. Yep. Really? Yeah, so they're going to get Walker up there in Montreal, in our home nation of Canada, to get...
Oh, Canada.
Yeah, that song. So, yeah, okay. I figured we were going to wake up on that one.
So Walker's going to TriStar. The reason why my face is mixed up like this is because I'm trying to think if they've had another light heavyweight out of their camp. They've had a couple of middleweights. I think I've only seen one other light heavyweight. So I'm wondering who he has to spar with and roll with down there. But at the same time,
I think they'll bring people in. They'll bring someone in.
They'll bring someone in, but you know what? I said this before. I'm not a fan of a flyby camp at another gym. I think you really need to settle in there.
Yeah,
move
like what Kevin Lee did.
Move to Montreal, give up on all civility, and just move there. Like some mayonnaise and fries and settle in.
Kevin Lee hasn't moved there yet, but it seems like he's going to.
Well, he's from the Midwest. He's from Michigan. He's right
there.
He
lives in Vegas.
He lives in Vegas, but he's from Michigan.
But he lives in Vegas.
Well, what are you trying to say? He can't handle a little cold? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm trying to say that other than the 8 weeks or whatever that he's in camp, that's a dangerous place to live.
Yeah.
That is a dangerous place to live.
Very sustainable. I won't say it's not sustainable. It's very sustainable for a lot of fighters for a long time. John Jones used to fly back and forth to New York down to what used to be formerly known as Jackson Wink. But then he moved down there because he was like, I want to be a part of the culture of the gym, and promptly ran over a pregnant woman. So this
You know who actually got him to stop going flying back and forth?
Who was it?
Rogan.
Really?
Yeah. Rogan's told the story a few times, even when John was on, to announce that, he took dick pills and had steroids in him. That Rogan, they were up in a hotel room after an event, smoking weed, and he said to John, he's like, you gotta get out of a real camp. You gotta get to a real camp. There's nothing for you in New York anymore. So he went down to Arizona after that.
Wait, he went down to train there, or he moved there?
He went down to train for a camp and then moved there after.
Yeah, because he didn't move right away. He stayed there for almost up until the point of remember his prior to his powerlifting phase when he was just lifting all the weights in the world.
Yes.
I think he might have bought his. Okay, no, you know what? He bought his first house before they were living in an apartment. John's financial situation changed rapidly, and
it did for sure.
Course of a few fights. But that's enough about John.
Yeah, thank you. I hate that, man.
John, sponsor us. Give me a call.
Yeah, all right. I mean, if you're gonna give me a call, we're cool. We're cool. All right. What do we want next?
I'm gonna go with sub of the year.
Sub of the year next. Mine, so I want to hear yours first.
All right, listen. You're gonna have to cue this up before I tell you. I'm sorry to our podcast fans and for the people watching because copyright it restricts us from doing this. Zach, I need you to look up this fight. Are you ready?
Oh, why are you giving me homework that you didn't actually give me homework beforehand? All right, I'll watch it right now. I'll watch it right now.
All right, I want you to look up my man.
Your man.
Right, my man, Bryce Mitchell, and just type in the Arkansas Twister.
Bryce Mitchell Twister.
Yeah.
Versus Matt Sales?
Yeah, I believe that's it.
All right, I'll watch it and I'll just pause or mute the audio. I saw this. It's embarrassing that this guy got twisted. Right? Is that why you have this here?
It's embarrassing, and it's also something you just commonly don't see.
Yeah, not
That's
really
why-
ever. Okay. Yeah, I can respect that pick for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good pick. I like that. It's a memorable pick, and that's why you picked it. I like that. Mine
Yes, sir.
was OSP hitting his last Von Flu choke, just because it solidified that as the OSP now instead of the Von Flu. I thought it was a historic thing. That's why I was like, all right, I'm gonna pick this one.
So coming up in a second
Also,
for me.
wait a second.
Go for it.
Someone hit a Peruvian necktie this year too, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I forgot who it was.
I'm looking
We
it
were
up right
trying to-
now.
We were trying to figure it out for a little while there. What the sub was.
Yes. Trying to see. Oh, Misha Sirkunov.
Ah, my boy Misha.
Yeah. Okay.
I think my second submission came in close, almost got first because of the stage it was done on. Would have been Maya versus Askren.
Yes, that's
And
huge.
then-
In that regard, Askren versus Lawler.
Correct. Also would have been big. Another one. Oh, you already said the necktie one.
Yeah,
correct?
that was over Jim Crute.
All right, and then there was one more video that I had checked out. Oh yeah, it's Charles Oliveira. This-
Oh
guy-
yes, yes.
You know
I know exactly what you're talking about.
you can't go. You can't. I mean, you just can't. You can't bet against this guy. I'm sorry. I'm watching it again. Let's see what he does. He catches the pretty slick hands. Slick hands. All right. And he's defending himself.
And he's out. That's exactly how that would happen. Yeah. So those are a pretty good pretty good grouping there. Sub of the year isn't super memorable unless there was a super highlight sub that year, right?
Right.
The last year, DJ over Ray Borg. He basically flipped him
he
into an
caught him.
armbar.
Yeah, the flying armbar.
Yeah.
That was
17?
2017 or early
17.
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was sick.
Yes, it was.
That was high level stuff right there.
And
man.
that will forever. That was October of 17.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a big one,
Yeah.
right? Something like that. But
Man, that was a good one.
there wasn't anything crazy this year. A Peruvian necktie is nice to see, right? Because it's
Right.
such a weird one, such an off the wall one. A twister is really fun to see. But
OSP going down in history. You know.
yeah,
'Cause
that's
they
big.
were actually talking about doing that. I know you're half joking, but there was an actual real conversation about, hey,
Yeah.
can we rename it? Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah. I've listened to Rogan talk about it ad nauseum. So
Yeah.
that's
What do you want to do next?
that's sub of the year.
Yeah.
What was your most boring fight this year?
God damn it. You know, I'm just gonna be honest, and like two fights that were so boring that I thought they happened in 2019 because nothing happened, so I assumed the fights were still going on
Yep.
right now.
I know
right?
exactly.
Like I just got up and walked away and stopped watching it, which was Ngannou versus Lewis,
Yep.
obviously. But I'm gonna be respectful, and I'm gonna be respectful of the craft. But I just gotta be sometimes I just gotta be a fan too. Man, the Jermaine Duranamy versus Nunez
That's
fight.
it for me. That's it for me.
It was a clinic, but it was, I don't care what you guys say, man. It was just good old fashioned lay and pray. Like she got the position, she held the position. You know, she did strike from the top a few times, but yeah, that was that, and that was the stinker. I'm trying to think if there was any other stinkers this year.
I'm sure there were. You know, there's some undercard fights that were just non-interesting.
Yeah. Wasn't their life hard enough?
Which is true. As technical and as fun as the Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Michelle Waterson was, that's kind of a boring fight because you know how it's gonna go. Right, so that's a boring fight, but in a different way, other than the Lewis versus Ngannou fight that was literally could have put anyone to sleep.
No strikes.
I don't think there was anything crazy boring this year, but there were a few fights that were just Not great, but I wouldn't call him exactly boring.
I'm trying to think. Was Slevchenko versus Joanna? Was that this year or last year? I watched a lot of fights, dude.
No, I watch a lot of fights too.
I'm just starting to blend together.
I don't know how to spell either of their names. Here we go. That was December 8th of 2018.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't count. Doesn't
No,
count.
does not count. Does not count. Only 2019.
All the boring fights happened in December. Look up the Lewis versus Ngannou fight.
I know. Which is funny because that's on the same card as Holloway versus Ortega.
Was it really?
Yeah. That was a good fight. That was a good fight.
That was an amazing fight.
All right. So moving on.
Who do you want to do next? I forgot which ones you want to avoid already. I've already forgotten.
Well, fight of the year and round of the year, fighter of the year. Fight of the year and fighter of the year. We put those to last.
Okay.
What was the biggest upset this year?
Biggest upset this year?
Yes.
This one I actually didn't make it onto my list for some reason, but I can just give it to you off my head.
I can go first if you'd like me to.
Go for it.
Kamaru Usman beating Tyron Woodley.
That was your biggest upset?
That's not a huge upset, but going into that, Woodley had beat the who's who of that division, and it looked like, for me, who's not the hardest of hardcore fans, that Usman was just going to be another log fed to the wood chipper that was Tyron Woodley.
Right.
So that's why it's a big upset for me. And Woodley had been the champion of that division for quite a while. So
I think my biggest upset, if I'm thinking about it now, is only because it made me upset, which was Yoel Romero's last loss to
Costa.
Yes.
Yeah. I tried to stick away from the split decision because there's so much gray area there, whether or not the judges really ruined it or if that's how the fight was.
Right.
Jose Aldo losing to Marlon Moraes. That's a huge one. There was another one earlier in the year that we had an issue with. And it came into question of whether dominant position in the octagon really matters for a fight if you're just going to keep getting battered.
Was that a woman's fight? Who was that? I know exactly what you're talking.
Yeah, but there was a few bad split decisions this year, but I tried to stick away from that. Obviously, for the casual fan, the Holloway losing to I'm lost on the guy's name right now. Fights out of Stylebender's camp out of Australia. He literally just lost. That's a huge upset.
What is his name? Why can't I remember his name? Volkanovski.
Yeah, Alexander Volkanovski. I had predicted that fight like literally months ago. So I wasn't upset that happened, but I can see how, someone who's even more casual than I am would be upset by Holloway losing.
There's another fight I could have put in the biggest upset of the year, like surprise, like people thought this person was being led to slaughter, but I can't because he's on another one of my picks. So I'll circle back. There were some horrible decisions, and we probably should have included that.
Yeah, we should have.
Worst decisions of the year, but that will just lead to toxicity and me storming off because it just takes me right back to the moment. Because it's a horrible way, and no, freaking Colby Covington is not on it, dude, because that wasn't an upset. That was just too much damage over 5 rounds, and you went down. You didn't get robbed, buddy. Sorry, Colby.
He was going to lose that 5th round. He lost
100%.
Yeah, he lost a bunch. So.
All right. Comeback career of the year. Who you got?
I got Masvidal.
Masvidal. Okay.
Four wins in a year, and really got shot into stardom.
Yeah.
Shot into stardom, bigger than almost anyone else in the UFC right now, other than worldwide Khabib, Conor, and Stylebender.
Yeah, and I actually think he's a better talker than Stylebender. We know Khabib is, you can only understand him if
he's just number one bullshit.
He's number one bullshit. I am more clever than you think. And Conor's the GOAT in regards to that. My comeback career of the year was Corey Anderson. We're talking about a man who was probably on his way to getting cut. Knocks out Johnny Walker, and just like that. You give him a one fight. Who else did he beat anyone else? This is his only fight this year, though. Yeah, it's his only fight this year, and that's why it's the comeback of his career, because he came in there
on
Literally.
a 3-fight winning streak over Patrick Cummings, Glover Teixeira, and Latifi.
Yeah, he was being let in there for slaughter, dude.
Right, for Johnny Walker to kill him. I get that. I understand that.
But also, you just named 3 wins. Think about who Corey Anderson's lost to. Dude's been knocked out horribly.
OSP and Manoa.
Yep. And so, in my mind, Corey Anderson stopped being a serious conversation in the title contention. And his career really wasn't going anywhere because he was just kind of he's not dope. He's actually kind of an intelligent guy. Really great wrestler, but nothing about him ever really stood out. Comes in, knocks out a guy who's already being touted as the guy to be John Jones. Now he gets to buy his ticket. You know?
Yeah.
He's back in there. Career rejuvenated.
Okay, that's fair. You've won me over with this.
Yeah. We're going for reason here, right, Zach? You got to be able to reason these things out.
Okay.
But I would agree that Masvidal overall is the comeback career of the year, especially when you look at his record.
I left myself a note in here, and you know, I just made the argument against you for having 1 win this year, but I put Kevin Lee in there as a second. That because same thing.
No,
his career wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah,
and then we get a little bit of excitement around him. He gets a new camp, right? As much as you hate the new camp thing, is that I keep bringing up. And he gets in there and he gets a surgical knockout over a huge rising star.
Yep.
And so, all right, I made an argument against you and then made the exact same argument.
I'm telling you, man, it's like you come in there and these.
But he lost this year too, though. He lost to RDA earlier in the year.
He lost to RDA, and he also lost to.
That was it for this year. He lost to Al coming into this fight.
No, hold on. He lost to RDA, but he lost to someone else. I can't think of it.
He lost to Tony.
Lost to Al. Also lost to Al.
Lost to Al twice. Lost to Tony. And
Damian Maia. Did he fight Damian Maia?
No. The only other fight he has is Leonardo Santos.
Okay. And his only fight at welterweight was against RDA, correct?
Yes.
Right,
yeah, that was his welterweight debut.
All right. Who are you giving the He Got Humbled award to?
It's only one person. And that, unfortunately, is Mr. Askren.
Yep.
But as a notable second, he also had a breakout moment for me in how well he takes a loss.
Yes.
So we're gonna give him a distant second on that one.
Yeah. But which one are you giving it to him for? I'm the greatest grappler, and then I lose to Damian Maia?
No, the knockout.
The knockout? Okay.
Yeah, the knockout for sure. Because he had never been knocked out before in his entire career.
Nope.
He never lost before in his entire career.
And he's faced some legit strikers in other organizations.
Lima. Fought Lima.
Yeah. So, I also picked Ben Askren just because, it took just a little. He still talks. Now I put a little salt on his trash talk, and he's like, I have to also reconcile the fact that my soul left my body briefly for moments at a time.
Yeah.
All right. So that was an easy one. Who are you giving? Did we go with breakout moments yet?
No, we didn't. That's a good segue into him.
Let's go into breakout moments. Who you got for the breakout moment?
My breakout moment is actually maybe you're gonna hate me for this. It's Masvidal battering Nate Diaz, because that solidified him as the breakout fighter of the year for me.
Okay,
not fighter of the year. Don't get me wrong, not fighter of the year, but breakout comeback career of the year. And him battering Nate Diaz. Even though it was a questionable stoppage, who cares? I thought that was a fine stoppage now that I've went back and looked at it because it wasn't getting any better.
No.
That solidified him into the stardom that it was, because he put a clinic on against Diaz.
Yeah. Actually, you know what I think about? Diaz knows how to play the situation. He's like, I'm going to go in here and fight, make you people believe that I got a chance, which he did. Obviously has a chance, and he got paid, and we won't ever see Diaz again probably for another 2 years. Masvidal was also my breakout moment, but not for the Diaz fight. It was for his post-fight interview after beating Ben Askren. Because after he beat him and he started talking, I was like, oh man, this is the start being born. Because whenever a person looks at this cameraman and says, or an interviewer says, oh, it was super necessary.
Yeah, I knew that's exactly what you were gonna do.
Oh, no.
I like his 3-piece and a soda. That was good too. I actually just saw that clip again recently. I don't know why it came up into my timeline, but he hit Leon Edwards with like 4 punches before anyone realized what was happening. It was like, and I'm like, whoa.
And it was crazy too because I was like, he won 2 fights that night. He knocked out poor Darren Till, and then just completely embarrassed. There's nothing worse than walking up on someone talking trash, putting your hands up first, and still getting hit like 5 times like a Dragon Ball Z character.
Yes, and then you've seen the Kevin Hart bit where he's like, I watched my dad get beat up once, and he got hit so many times so fast. He goes, how many people am I fighting? That is exactly what happened to Leon Edwards that night.
It is 100%, and I think that's for me. That was the breakout moment for Masvidal. Also, he's just really good to listen to on the mic. Like even after he beat Diaz, right? He was, there was a bit of humility there, and jovial, but at the same time, you just gotta respect his gangster because he's saying some stuff up there like, no, it wasn't gonna get better for him. It's only gonna get worse.
Did you see part of the post interview where he's like, listen, if I don't get pizza immediately, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm walking. You know what's great is that he gave props to the guy who brought the pizza.
He's like, this guy right here, the pizza guy, I like this guy.
He's like, who is this guy? This guy's got pizza on deck. He's like, pay this man. And I was thinking about, I was like, what intern was that? Because he did get it really quick.
Dano's in the back, just red-faced.
That was my pizza.
And then he just folds the 2 slices on top of each other and just eats them like a man.
It's a New York thing to do.
I've done it.
From here. It's a
I've
very New York thing to do. All right. I mean, I know it's gonna be a shorter one, but what time did we start recording, man? It's just like flying by. We flew through this.
Almost 30 minutes in already.
Man, we didn't do enough filler. Should we?
No.
Okay.
These last 3.
Okay.
Are the big ones.
What do we got? What's on the last 3, man? Yeah.
So we got
Fight of the year.
Fight of the year.
Fight of the year.
Fighter of the year and round of the year.
It's a big one. Which one you want to go with?
Let's go round first.
All right, who you got?
What was your round of the year? I want to hear your round of the year.
Obviously it is Stipe versus DC.
Okay, round 4. Round 4, right?
That man was. Go back and watch that fight. He was losing that fight.
For sure.
You knew that the first time you watched it. And then when you watch it the second time, you're like, oh, yeah, it's as bad as I remember.
Oh, yeah.
DC hit him with so many punches, and some of them were just completely untechnical. At one point, I think DC actually just went like that. It gave him a karate chop to the chest. And then out of nowhere, strategy kicked in.
And
he took a step back, hit him to the body, came to the body again, kept going to the body.
And again.
And then brought it up top. And poor DC was down in the cage. He probably looked like Kevin Hart's father when he was going down.
Okay.
Who was yours? What'd you get?
Gastelum versus Stylebender, round 5.
I knew that.
That's the obvious one. But
that's a great round.
That might be the best, maybe the best round in history. It's up there.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
That's still a great fight, man. Because
yes,
I don't care what Stylebender says. Like he does this thing where he kind of plays it off like, oh, he tested me and blah blah blah, and I'm like, hey man, you almost got beat.
You could have gotten beat for sure.
If that octagon cage wasn't behind him when he got tagged by Gastelum, the fight goes a different way, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
So I think that's a great pick. That's a great pick.
Also, in a note here for me was now I keep thinking Tony Ferguson, Anthony Pettis was this year.
No, it's not.
It was October of last year. That was an incredible fight.
That was an incredible fight. Pardon my yawn. Sorry about that.
That's all right. It's all right. It's getting to be the boomer hours, and I'm ready to go to bed.
I'm like, I hear Matlock in the background or Law and Order calling me right now. I'm trying to think if there was a close second for me.
I don't think there was.
Oh, I got a boring fight for you. I'm sorry. I almost forgot it happened. Darren Till versus Kelvin Gastelum.
I did forget it happened. Oh my god. Yeah, you're right.
That was a snooze fest right there. That
You're
was an
100% correct.
But if I had to give a close second to round of the year, it's obviously going to be well, it would be Usman's not comeback, but his win over Colby.
Round 5.
Round 5.
Yeah.
Amazing, dude.
I'm trying to think. There was a really good round in Ally Quinta versus Cowboy too.
Oh yeah.
Like
round
round 1 maybe.
That was a great fight, dude.
Yeah.
That was a great fight.
Yeah, that was way earlier this year.
Yeah, Cowboy spanked him. He spanked him. He had great success against little guys. Guys a lot smaller.
Why he's gonna beat Conor?
It probably might look very similar if Conor's not careful.
That's
he's gonna have to bring something different in than what he usually does, waiting forward. Yeah. All right, now let's get to the big two. Let's get to the big
two. What was the fight of the year, Steve?
Fight of the year is Usman versus Colby Covington. That was the most dramatic fight of the year, dude. Like there were so many different undertones coming in, which I was like involved with. I don't care about any of that stuff. Political. I mean, I do care, but when it comes to fighting, I try to keep that stuff separate. Your political ideologies and all that stuff. But just think about what that was for people who are casual fans who are just tuning in to see some crazy Trump supporter get beat up, right? And then you got Colby Covington, who basically, you can't take you can't hate this guy, man. He did what he could with his platform to get himself noticed, and he backed it up by winning. And then we have this high tension fight where two high level wrestlers. Not even jiu-jitsu players, right?
No,
I'm not even going to call them high-level wrestlers. Came in and did what two wrestlers do, and they banged it out. Didn't move their head off the line once, and they just came in swinging. And for me, that was the fight of the year, man. I was tense throughout the whole thing. I did not know what was going to happen.
That's good. I have two.
Two.
What was a close second I just thought of? The close second for me was Cub Swanson, Kron Gracie.
Great fight.
It was really interesting to see Cub come off of the loss to Burgos and getting fed to Kron Gracie. Let's be fair. The idea was that Kron was going to take him down and try to jump guard like 37 times and submit him super early on. But it also showed that Kron has incredible stamina.
Yep.
He got hit to the body 30 times, something crazy like that. Yeah. So that was a close second for me. But for me, really, the fight was Gastelum versus Stylebender.
I knew it.
I thought it was incredible. I thought that fight was just purely incredible because it was just so far back and forth.
Yeah, until it wasn't.
Right. I get that.
No, Stylebender Stylebender made the right adjustment, and Calvin paid for it at the last end. But he fought his little heart out. It was a great fight. I think a close second for me for fight of the year would have definitely been if it wasn't Usman. Oh, God damn! I just lost it. Oh, it was going to be Askren versus Damian Maia as a grappling fan, because it was just like a man. And no, it wasn't meant for me. It was just amazing because it's just to watch Ben Askren get deflated like that at Damian Maia's at the end of his career. And let's be honest, right? Damian Maia is at the end of his career, and I remember
he's been at the end of his career.
Yeah,
let's be fair. He's been at the end of his career.
Yes, and they just keep bringing him in, and he keeps beating some of their best guys. But for me, that was perfect because they used the butterfly guard and get him out of there. I was that's
quick,
amazing.
Flipped him, got him, and then just choked him out in a fashion that I thought was frankly ridiculous.
Some honorable mentions. Worst ass whooping of the year definitely goes to poor Michelle Waterson.
Yeah,
for the beating she took.
Or Jessica Eye.
Or Jessica Eye. That's just you got to respect Michelle Waterson. She took that beating like a champ, right?
Yeah,
there were only a few, that one moment where she took Joanna's back, and I was like, if she chokes her out now, she goes down as the GOAT. In my opinion.
Was Nunes versus Cyborg this year?
No, that was I looked at it. I was looking at that for knockout, and that was
Huh.
But poor
Yeah,
Holly.
oh man, that was December 29th of 2018.
I was gonna beg to have that thrown out. I was like, you can't keep that in that bowl.
Man.
And then we finally got it, man. So we did a fight of the year. Who's your fighter of the year?
It's clear at this point that it was Stylebender for me.
Stylebender.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick.
He fought. Hold on. Let me make my case here.
Go for it.
3 fights this year.
Mhm.
2 of them. Well, one of them was really good, and 2 of them were weird. Right.
Okay. What were the 2 weird ones?
Silva. He beat Anderson Silva this year. Right. You got to remember he beat one of the GOATs this year, even though it's a 100-year-old Anderson Silva.
Right.
And then
Literally.
he beat Whitaker in the first round.
Well, I thought it was the second. Was it
He
the first?
knocked him out at the end of the first round.
Oh, that's
And Whitaker did not know where he was after that.
And he's
So-
younger than Stylebender too.
By 3 years. What's crazier to me is, we're going out of the scope here, but he didn't fight in the UFC until February of 2018. I get that he was a very good kickboxer.
Right.
Like, I understand that. But he joined, his first fight was February 11th of 2018. Then he fought February, April, July, November, February, April, October.
Very active.
He fights a lot. 7 times in, 16 months? 7 times in 18 months? And just to have the 3 wins over definitely the 2 best in that division, in Gastelum and Whitaker. It would be interesting to see him against Romero. We'll see that soon, hopefully. And to beat one of the GOATs. Even though it wasn't a crazy fight, it was a decision, but he beat Silva.
Yeah.
That's why, for me, he's the fighter of the year this year.
I have him beating Yoel and Acosta. Both dangerous fights for him, obviously.
I have him beating Costa 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't know what Yoel Romero is going to come out there.
That man could come in with a chair for all I know. I don't know what's going to happen.
He easily could come in and just hit him with anything, right? If it's an overhand right, a left, whatever. He has enough power that when people...
To clean your clock.
For sure. But people fight differently after they fight Yoel.
100%.
So...
my fight of the year, surprise, is Usman. And I'll tell you why he's my fight of the year. The guy fought his way up through the ranks, never took a gimme fight. He did lay on a couple of guys, control them by position. Man, fought his way to the belt, beat Tyron Woodley.
Beat everyone.
Arguably the second greatest welterweight, or maybe even third, depending on what day it is, welterweight in Europe. So you have to put George St. Pierre, then I'll give him second. I'll give him second.
For sure.
I'll give him
definitely
second.
Way up there.
But Usman and then beating Colby Covington, like there's something special about beating a rival, but not just beating a rival, but beating a rival who's actually a tough fighter.
Yeah,
right?
Don't let Colby Covington trick you into thinking he's not a good fighter, because that's what he's done to everybody. That guy is an incredible fighter.
Let me rephrase this before the internet trolls come after me. So I'll put him at third, depending on the days, because obviously you can make the argument that it's GSP, Matt Hughes, and then Tyron Woodley. Matt Hughes being the gold standard for the welterweight before he got beat by GSP. But Usman, I feel, is going to be champion for quite some time. I keep looking at the landscape of welterweight, and I'm like, who can beat him?
There's really not many.
You hope George Masvidal can beat him, but there's a reality that kicks in where it's like, you look at the tool set.
Yeah.
So
realistically, can he? And that's a really good question. Since we're kind of done here, we're wrapping up here quickly. As a note, the Covington versus Robbie Lawler for biggest ass whooping of the year.
Yeah, well, that was just
He threw 600 punches in that fight, something crazy like that. That was a crazy. Robbie didn't do anything that entire fight, unfortunately.
It was just like forward momentum coming at him all the time.
Battered. Yeah. So that would be, because I didn't have one for that.
Could you imagine in a flip of the cards if Dana and them said, "Oh, you know what? Let's not give Robbie Lawler to Askren for his first fight. Kobe might be coming back from an injury, and they have them fight." Could you
Oh,
imagine an
no.
alternate reality where Ben Askren fights? Kobe
Yeah,
covered that.
realistically, what is the outcome of that fight? It's Kobe putting a pressure on Askren that probably no one has seen, right? Or Askren ankle picks him into the fence and gets his back and chokes him out. Because that very easily could have happened too.
Depending
Who
on
knows?
Askren shows up, he's like, you know, I had some barbecue and one of my favorite cargoes to fight. I'm feeling pretty honorary. Let's go, dude.
Yeah, for sure. So there was some. This is a good year in fighting. This is a good year in fighting. I thought it was.
You want to before we head out, I want to read you some other knockout of the years picked by some less than reputable sites.
Not us.
Not us.
We're not us.
We had Douglas Lima in Bellator 221 knocking out Michael Van Page.
Yep, that's a good one.
We have Walker versus Ledette. That was on UFC ESPN 2.
Yeah, it's just Johnny Walker though.
And this almost came in there too. Emmett versus Johnson. Poor Michael Johnson getting knocked out.
Poor Michael
Emmett.
Johnson.
Barboza versus Gaethje. Gaethje also knocked out Cowboy Cerrone this year, did he not?
Yes, very quickly in the first round, if I remember correctly. But,
who else is on this list? Cejudo versus Dillashaw.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep.
I wish Cejudo would fight at this point. But
then we got Pierre versus Roberts. I remember that fight. Who else? Oh yeah, Cosmo Alexandria. That was this year. Cosmo knocked out poor Sage Northcutt.
Almost killed poor Sage Northcutt.
Oh yeah.
Almost killed
Chris
him.
Weidman also got banished to the Nether Realms. Reyes.
Well, I mean, Luke Rockhold got slaughtered by Jan.
he was waiting down there for Chris, and Chris is like, "I still hate you." Aldo is on here for Macchiano. I remember that fight. Just can't pronounce that guy's name.
That's fair.
And oh yeah, man, this is a controversial one, huh? Velasquez versus Ngannou.
He knocked him out. Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
And then who else we got? Man, they were up to like 44. I'm just kind of skimming through here. Santos versus Blachowicz. I remember that. That's got in the John Jones fight.
Yes.
But their number one knockout was actually Pettis versus Thompson.
Really? That's good. That was a good one for sure.
This is from Tapology. We also got Askren coming in versus Masvidal at number 2. Then Masvidal gets another one for Till at number 2. They also picked Shevchenko versus Jessica Ai.
That's a big one, dude.
And Nama Nunez versus Andrade.
For the most boring fight maybe of all time.
No, Nama Nunez picked that poor child. She was losing that fight and used her strategy of taking punches to the face to get into an armbar situation and dump poor Rose Namajunas on her head.
Oh, Rose. Sorry.
Yeah.
You said a last name that was foreign to me, and I just assumed that we were talking about nobody.
And then there was Cerrone versus someone named Hernandez. Beat the brakes on that. Poor Gillespie is on here too.
Poor Gillespie. Wow.
Gillespie.
Yeah, well, he'll learn his lesson next time. Don't leave your head open.
Yeah, don't leave your head
against Kevin Lee, who we didn't know could throw that kick.
I didn't even know his legs came off the ground.
I didn't know he had legs. I thought he just rolled in and rolled out.
This has been another good episode, man.
Yeah, this is a special episode. This is a once a year thing. This is not our everyday. But next week we'll be back with our. That's a good idea. Next year we'll be back with our regularly scheduled programming for episode 12. So remember to check us out on iTunes. We're on all sort of podcasting apps. Leave us a rating on the podcasting app that you're on. That helps us out a lot, actually. Helps us get up in the rankings, get us more eyeballs. So we really appreciate that. If you guys made it this far, you guys are the real ones. So this has been Talking with a Dad, and have a good night.